Welcome to the Unexceptional Moms podcast. This is episode 24. My name is Ellen Stumbo.
And I'm Erin Lorraine, and our guests today are our kids.
Which is
so we've been
fun.
What? Yeah, I know. They're excited, aren't they?
Yay.
So excited.
We've been talking about doing this podcast forever, like almost since the beginning. So I'm excited that we're finally getting it done. And we are going to talk to them about being a typical sibling of a child with a disability. But first, let us introduce them. I have Evan, who is 14, but he's going to be 15 in July. And I have Clayton, who is 17, but he's going to be 18 in June, graduating from high school this year too. And you probably won't be able to tell their voices apart very well. So just, make your best guess, or we'll try to tell you who's talking.
Yes. If you watch the YouTube videos, then you'll actually get to see who's talking. And I have my daughter Ellie with me, and she's 11, almost 12. So we cover quite a few ages.
Yes.
As we talk about siblings.
And we have, some very different experiences as far as the sibling relationship. So I think it'll be good. Yeah.
Right. Like, I was going to say, we talk about the age difference to start with. Like, for example, Clayton, he's almost 18 compared to Anya, who's only 9, almost 10.
She's going to be 10 in just a week.
So, that's quite a bit of an age gap. Whereas my girls are only 2 years apart between all three of them. So between Ellie and Nina, there's 8 months. And then between Ellie and Nicole, there's only 24 months. So
our smallest gap is 3 years between Evan and Oksana. So that gives you an idea.
Yes.
So what we did for this podcast, really to help our kids, is we set up a list of questions so that they could kind of have an idea of what we were going to talk about. And so we're just going to kind of go through those questions and just talk and dialogue about their lives as siblings of kids with disabilities. So first of all, we want to talk to you guys about the pros and cons of having a sibling with a disability. Who wants to jump in and go first?
Who's the brave one?
Okay, let's do pros. Let's do some pros. Silent. Crickets. Go ahead, Clayton.
Parking in the handicapped spot's always
Parking in the handicapped spot?
He's serious.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What was your other pro?
Have to walk.
What was your other pro?
That we've had a lot of experiences that we normally wouldn't have had without them being inside of our family. And also, it's never boring.
Yeah, it's never boring in our house.
Yes.
And the experiences, like we were saying, we wouldn't do Johnny and Friends without our girls. We had the chance to go to Disney because of Make-A-Wish. These are things we wouldn't have been able to do without them. And so it's given us lots of different experiences to have fun with them and have fun as a family. Mm-hmm. What about you, Ellie?
Well, they're like normal sisters. Like, we fight, but then we also get along and play together.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so they're like playmates for you.
Yeah. Yes.
And they're close in age, so they're easier to get along with.
Mm-hmm. Because they do a lot of stuff together. Like, they do musically together, and they make videos and slime.
Yeah. That's something we don't have really at all. We kind of have the boys and the girls, because we've got 2 teenagers and 2 younger kids. They don't do, it's almost, we were discussing it earlier, almost more of a caregiver role than a sibling role. Mm-hmm. Because the boys, if they need something, they go to the boys for help, things like that. So
which, that happens to Ellie too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Your sisters do ask for your help sometimes.
Yeah.
I would say especially Nicole.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not unusual for Nicole to ask, Ellie, open this. Ellie, bring me the iPad. Just different things.
5 minutes ago.
Like 5 minutes ago. So.
Is Nicole as bossy as Anya?
Sometimes.
Anya is bossy. Okay, what about cons? Any cons?
Well, sometimes it's like harder for like us as a family to do things together because like it doesn't work out for Nina or Nicole.
That is on our list too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Give us an example, Evan.
I guess we used to like go hiking and biking a lot. So now we can't do that as often.
Mm-hmm.
Or at all.
At all.
Really.
Well, because we got both girls and Oksana is too big for any kind of a carrier. We don't bike ride anymore. We used to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do make, like those little trailers. They make them for adults, which she would need that size, but they're incredibly expensive.
Well, the other thing is, how heavy would that be to pull?
I mean, a grown person, it would be heavy, but at this point, you might not do it, but Clayton, Evan, or Larry can.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
Oksana, but they're, as it is with most adaptive equipment, it's so expensive.
It's expensive, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so our bikes are sitting, doing nothing, but that's a con.
Mm-hmm.
As some of us using bikes that have one person with a motorcycle and a sidecar.
There you go. A motorcycle sidecar.
Perfect.
Always the one with the good ideas, Evan.
Yeah. He tried to do a stunt, though.
Ellie, do you have an example of a situation where you guys can't do something because of the girls?
Well, last year for my birthday party, we went to a trampoline park, but my parents had to spend time with Nina and Nicole to help them be able to do it too and jump and stuff.
Absolutely. My girls definitely need one-on-one at those places.
And I think we try to adapt as much as we can. We try to do it so that we're not missing out on maybe what other families would be doing. But, to go to a place that's not handicap accessible or, it makes it a little bit more challenging. So we were never the family that, let's go out bowling or let's go out, like you said, on a hike or.
Yeah, right.
It's different.
Yeah. Can you think of anything else? That's the only thing we had that we talked about, isn't it?
That's the only thing on Ellie's list as well for the
go. All right. Hold on, let me get my question back up. Are you ever embarrassed? Boys, are you ever embarrassed by your siblings?
Not really. I feel like I've gotten used to it. Yeah. I think I'm more embarrassed by you guys.
Ellie, do you agree with that statement?
Yeah. Well, mostly by
All
you.
right.
Did you hear that? She said mostly by me.
Yeah, Ellen, let's kick them out. We're done with this podcast.
I know. So
I do think it becomes our normal, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Now, Ellie is in school with both of her sisters. Do you ever feel embarrassed by your sisters?
No.
No. Have they ever done something that you feel embarrassed because they have a disability?
No.
What about when people ask? Because you've had kids who don't know that Nina or Nicole are your sisters, and they will say like, "Oh, what's wrong with that girl?"
Then I get angry.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you try to explain it to people.
Mm-hmm.
And how do people respond?
Oh, they're like, "Oh, sorry."
Mm-hmm.
Boys, what do you think? Do you think your friends have any particular thoughts on your sisters or? No. They're all teenagers, they're really actually rather good with the girls. All of them are.
Yeah, more helpers.
Well, clearly our kids are very embarrassing.
Anyway.
Okay. And we've already started to touch on this a little bit, but how do you feel when strangers stare or make comments? Ellie, what do you think? You've just kind of touched on that.
Yeah, I get angry. And sometimes my face gets red because I don't know how to explain it, but it's not nice to do.
Mm-hmm. How does your mom respond where people are rude?
Oh boy.
Yes, I think I embarrass them because we've been in situations where, like a public restroom, and the handicap stall.
Oh no!
What did I do, Ellie?
Ladies in the handicap room, get out! We need to use it.
You did not.
Yes, because there's two of them, and there's like this little gap, this little window, and I can see. I'm like, okay, they need to move it. There's no reason for them to be there. And all the other bathrooms, are open. They just wanted to go to the one that has more room.
So they could both get in there.
I did. I clapped and I did say, come on, ladies. That's fun, Ellie. She wasn't very thrilled.
Both me and Nina were like, Mom, why did you do that?
So maybe.
Okay, boys. Strangers, staring, making comments.
I don't really notice it that much. I've noticed it a few times, but I mean, most of them, they probably don't understand fully, so yeah.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one.
The next one is, what is your relationship like with your sibling with a disability? Ellie, why don't you start this one? Because your relationship is going to look very different than my boys.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's start with Nicole. What's your relationship like with Nicole?
Well, I don't really play with her. She still likes to play Barbies, and I don't really. But I do videos with her. I enjoy making videos and taking pictures with her.
What does she call you? I mean, when we say your sister Ellie, what does she usually call you?
Yeah, she always calls me her friend, and she refuses to call me her sister.
And not just her friend. She says you're her best friend. I think Nicole looks up to you a lot, and she tries to steal your stuff and wear your clothes, and sometimes call me Ellie, and right?
No, not call you Ellie. She calls you that?
No. She will say, she'll say, don't call me Nicole. I'm Ellie.
Oh, yeah.
She'll do that.
What about Nina?
Well, she likes more of the stuff that I like. So she's a good playmate. Well, I don't picture it being any different than a sibling without a disability.
Right. Boys, what's your relationship like with Oksana?
What's that face, Clayton?
What were you going to say?
Back a long time ago, we used to play with them a lot, but now, just like you said before, we've kind of become more siblings.
So when Oksana came home, the boys were still rather young, and they played together a lot more then. In fact, we were talking about this earlier. I remember, they didn't see her disability. They'd be outside playing with her, rough and playing soccer. And there was a point where I was kind of like, okay, let's remember she does have some limitations. But really, so you got to figure they go into the teen years and they lose all that kind of that childhood play, but Oksana's still there, because cognitively she's still very, very young. So the separation between them is pretty huge now, and so they help her a lot with things. And okay, but what about Anya?
Anya's just the fun one.
The fun one. Well, Anya adores the two of you, especially Clayton.
Oh. Well, I don't know. She was all about Evan today.
But she likes to bug him.
That she does.
Yeah, so she likes to bug Evan, but she wants to hug and kiss and, Clayton, twirl me around. Didn't you create some game where she gets in a blanket and you hold her and twirl her?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Anya is more of a stereotypical little sister to Evan. She nitpicks him, and they do it to each other, They try to get on each other's nerves, and they drive each other crazy. And with Clayton, she almost, I mean, not that she doesn't try to drive him crazy too, because really Anya just tries to drive everyone crazy.
Yeah.
But with Clayton is a little more, he's the one that'll carry her around when we go places and things like that. Would you guys agree? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Nicole wishes that Ellie could carry her to places, but I think Nicole might weigh more than Ellie. Almost close.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have that problem.
Yeah.
Okay. What impact have your siblings had on, wait a minute. Okay, what impact have your siblings had on who you are as a person? So kind of how have your siblings made you the person that you are?
See, I think for Ellie, that might be harder to answer because she was 2 when Nicole was born.
Mm-hmm.
So can you ever think of a time where you did not have a sister with a disability, or that disability was not part of her family?
Like,
okay, well, what about this?
I can't remember like a time when Nicole wasn't born. Like, I can remember a few times before Nina was adopted, but most of my memories are with both Nina and Nicole.
Okay, what about this? What is something that you think is a character trait that you have because you have sisters with disabilities?
Like, it makes me like see people differently and think about not really how they look, but more like how they actually are.
Yep. What about you guys?
I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to say, because you can't really like go back and see who you can't go back and see who you would have become. But I mean,
valid.
Hypothetically, same general thing. You see people differently.
Yeah, there's not much to go on.
What about, do you think that because of your sisters that you are more compassionate, empathetic?
Like I feel like maybe for us as moms, we probably can sense those things better. You know what I mean, Erin? And I could share, and of course Ellie knows that I would get emotional and cry. Yeah. But, you know, like I do look at Ellie compared to other kids her age, and she is more compassionate, and she is kind, and she is more aware of the underdog, I guess you could say. And I have always said that the new kids, you know, that come in the middle of the school year or whenever they come, I've always said they're so lucky. They're girls, because she doesn't really talk to boys right now, but if they're girls, they're so lucky to be in the same classroom as Ellie, because Ellie is the kid that's going to include them and say, come sit with us, you know, or talk to them and make them feel, you know, welcome. And I don't necessarily see that in other kids. And I mean, maybe she would have done it regardless, but I think she's more aware of it because of her sisters.
So an example that comes to mind for me with you two is there was a situation, and we don't have to be specific on here. There was a situation with a person that some of the other kids were very unsure about this person because of some of the things they did. And Clayton immediately identified that those traits looked a lot like autism, and wanted to know, like, how do I tell my friends and teach my friends that this is part of autism and this doesn't make them weird or, you know, anything like that. So I do think there's that sensitivity to disability and that desire to help people understand that our kids have.
Well, and I think Ellie has said that when she grows up, she's going to adopt a kid with Down syndrome. So
are you?
I don't know. I'll have Anya in my life still, so I don't know if I can handle more than one.
Well, you know, that's a good, and I don't know that we had that question, but we've talked about that before, you know, because I think I don't want Ellie to ever feel like she's responsible for her sisters. But she has said by herself, what are you going to do when I can't take care of your sisters?
I'll take care of them.
Right. Because you want to, or because you feel like we expect you to?
Because I want to.
Is that a question or a statement?
You didn't hear, but Evan just told Clayton, Anya's going to college with you.
So like in the fall, in a few months.
She might be a little young, Evan.
Yeah.
She can, no.
So you could go take quantum physics.
Quantum physics,
Yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. What do you wish was different about how the world sees disability? Did we have anything on that?
Yeah, it was really just like, I don't know.
Did you say something?
I had an example. I don't remember exactly what I said about it though.
The Joker.
Yeah, the Joker.
Oh,
Like
yes.
in the Dark Knight movies, they said that the Joker had paranoid schizophrenia, but it was very obvious that he did not. And they were just using it as a, quote, scary word to just to,
Yeah, that bothers. Clayton picks those things up, the way movies and media portray certain things, and he'll come and say, they called it this and that is not what it is.
Right. Well, you pick up on that. And I think that's true that so often, especially mental illness, is not portrayed in a positive way. I mean, any disability. How often do you watch a show where the main character has a disability?
Right.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, even it's able-bodied people who end up playing disabled characters.
Yes, it is.
So wrong too. Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that, Ellie?
How do you wish the world was different?
That people wouldn't like judge people with disability for how they look or like how they act because of their disability.
Yep.
It happens, unfortunately.
You know, there was something we were talking about, and Evan said, oh, it was the strangers staring and making rude comments. And Evan's like, people don't do that. I'm like, yeah, you just haven't come across those people yet.
Right. Or you haven't noticed it.
Right. I mean, people do stare. He notices that for sure. But, okay. What is something your parent has done to make you not feel overlooked?
I mean, that's something that I think I ask Ellie, not a lot, but a few times. I've asked her, do you feel like you don't get enough attention?
No.
You don't feel like you get enough attention?
Oh, I do feel.
You do feel like you do. But I mean, I ask you, how often? I mean, not.
Well, like once in a while.
And is there anything that your parents do that you think makes you feel like you're getting enough attention?
Well, me and my mom do like special trips and like go shopping together. And every night I sit with my dad on the couch and read my book while he watches sports or something.
What about you boys?
I mean, we watch TV shows. We can see musicals, movies, stuff like that together.
We kind of have always been pretty big on dates, either all of us or taking the boys individually. And then we love to have a good show to watch together. So we put the girls to bed and we all run downstairs and watch a show together. But yeah, we got season tickets to the Fox Theater. And every other month, all four of us go to a musical together. So that's been really fun too.
And something that I know you do, like you're pretty involved with like Evan's horses. So that's something, I mean, obviously that's something that he's doing, but you encourage it and, support him in what he's doing, and you go watch him and cheer him on and do all of that. And, Ellie with her dance, we try to do that. See, she's young enough that we still like to take her to bed at night. So Andy and I, try to switch each other night. And I feel like oftentimes at night we get some pretty good conversations. Some good speeches, right, Ellie?
I think it helps with the girls being so much younger than the boys. They go to bed so much earlier. So we have a huge hunk of time.
Oh, yeah, your girls, yes.
Yeah, a huge hunk of time that we could chat or, whatever.
Oh, you guys go to bed.
Yeah, we go to bed earlier than they do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I believe that. You're not gonna go to bed after we go to bed. That influences Lorraine voice. No. Okay. Yesterday I took her to bed and I was trying to make her laugh. Did it work? It did work. Yeah. It did work.
I'm not doing what you were doing though.
I was singing.
Oh boy.
You know what she told me? We were singing. She said, Mom, if you took some voice lessons, you could be a really good singer.
That's great. That's fantastic.
I know. I'm just like, so that's the nice way of saying, Mom, your singing is just not very good.
It was supposed to be a compliment.
Okay, what about advice? Do you have any advice for siblings, typical siblings who have siblings with disabilities, or for their parents?
Like, to give advice on something, you'd have to have already been through it. And
but you live
advice, it. I do live it, but that's the thing. It's become normal. I can't give advice on something that's become normal.
Yeah.
So, well, but let me ask you a question, Clayton. Let's say that you meet someone who's your age and they have a sibling with a disability, and they say to you, it's so hard for me because I feel like my parents give my sibling a lot of attention. They don't give me as much attention. Like, what would you say to someone who's going through that?
Well, just tell them to talk to their parents. I haven't had that situation, so
right. Well, but that's a good advice. I mean, to be open, to talk to their parents, right? Like, if you're feeling that way, you kind of need to let them know.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Evan?
It also all depends on like what disability they have.
Yeah,
like,
that's valid.
Everyone's situation is different.
Even if you look at Oksana and Nina, they both have CP, but they're so different.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, and they were raised together.
They were raised together, yeah.
They were together, and yep, and they are different kids.
What about you, Ellie? Do you have any advice?
Not really.
Think of, what would you say to a friend? Let's say that they came and they said, I just had a baby brother born with Down syndrome. What would you say to them?
Woo, woo.
And if they said, what should I expect?
They will probably be crazy, but they're loved.
Yeah.
That's very accurate, wouldn't you say, boys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. How do you view people with disabilities and or their families differently now?
So when you see other families that have people with disabilities in it, what do you think? Like, what's your first reaction?
Whoa, they're like us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they know how we feel.
Mm-hmm. We were talking a little bit about, I mean, I know we say Johnny and Friends way too much on this podcast.
I was just thinking about that.
We were using that as an example that disability is so normal to us now. When you see someone in a wheelchair, like, you don't even like particularly notice it anymore. It's just, oh, look, just like you would see someone in a purple shirt. Oh, look, I like that shirt, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're like me, you might even go and ask them, oh, I noticed your wheelchair doesn't have any handles. Like, how do we get a wheelchair with no handles?
Definitely, yeah, I definitely stalk people, you know, to ask them questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
tell them I like the color of their wheelchair or something.
Every time my mom sees someone that she sees like has Down syndrome or in a wheelchair, she'll go and talk to them and like get their phone number so that they can talk about it.
It's a club, Ellie. You don't understand.
It is.
I know. I do the same thing. Ellie, do you know, I have made a number of friends in the parking lot of hospitals. Just seeing them walking by and going, hey, look at that, an extra chromosome. We have one of those too. And, you know, and we connect on Facebook, and or I have a friend on Facebook that her son had the same orthotic pattern that Oksana had. So we say, hey, look, you've got the same orthotics. And now we're friends on Facebook.
But if you see someone get into a car and with one hand they grab the wheelchair, I'm like, what is your wheelchair made out of? Because like ours is a lot heavier. So, like those things I want to know and I want to learn, because if, Nina being a child, she's not connected with enough adults in the disability community to be constantly talking about those things. So if I don't know about some options, then I can't bring it up if I don't know.
So as I was talking about making friends in the parking lot, Clayton was over here rolling his eyes, if you didn't see that.
It happens way too often.
My family is used to that as well. I can't resist. Right? Yeah.
Like at
Ellie, did you get a
orchestra concert, my mom saw this kid with Down syndrome, and so she went to talk to the dad. And
they spoke Spanish too. So I was like, oh, ¿cómo estás? Su niño tiene síndrome de Down, mi hija también. And then, you just start talking.
What'd she say?
I was paying attention.
I heard also.
Also.
Good. I did say también.
The rest of it was way too fast though.
So the last question we had for the kids was really about Johnny and Friends Camp, because of, a couple of things. One, it's a camp only for families who have children with disabilities or, adults with disabilities.
Yeah, right.
It's anybody who has a disability, their families are welcome. So it could be that the mom or dad are the ones with a disability and that their families get to come. So tell us, you guys, your experience as siblings at Johnny and Friends.
Kind of crazy. It is. It's kind of crazy.
Like in a good way or an overwhelming way, or both?
Overwhelming for me, not so much for other people.
Yeah, well, he's an introvert, so some of the fun activities are overwhelming. But tell me what you just said that you really like about it.
Food's great.
The food's great.
Yeah.
Priorities here.
Baked oatmeal.
They were talking about the baked oatmeal. Yeah.
Of course.
Yep. What else?
I like that there's a person for Oksana and a person for Anya.
Mm-hmm.
So then we can go do what we're doing. And we don't have to even worry about them. They can just be off doing something. It's even different from like Alex right now, what we have.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Evan?
I guess mainly that first year, a lot of the other like siblings were also really nice. Like, yeah.
So Johnny and Friends, they have sib groups. So it's for all the siblings. And the first year we went in particular, the sib group really got along well. And like, we barely saw the boys the whole time because they were with the sib group. But it's a really neat program to give them people who understand what their life is like.
What did you think about Johnny and Friends, Ellie?
That was like a really fun summer.
One of our best vacations, probably.
Yeah. And what's your favorite part, Ellie?
Maybe like being around people that like understand how it feels like to have a sibling with a disability.
And did you eat the baked oatmeal? Isn't it good?
It's like a cake.
They also had.
It is like cake.
No, they had gluten-free cake for us.
They had a gluten-free cake for us. Yeah. So
yeah, I'm wondering about this year being gluten and dairy-free. What that's going to be like? It'll be interesting for Anya. But yeah, no, they're amazing.
I think something that Ellie said that first year. Do you remember? You said every family here is like ours.
Also, the talent show is really fun.
The talent show is awesome.
What? Were you going to say something? What?
Another thing that I noticed about it was that the sibling groups, the entire time you didn't know, like, no one talked about their siblings with disabilities. Like, you could go, and it wasn't, I don't know, it was interesting that it was like, you could never you would never actually entirely know for sure who's related to who. Like,
are you saying they got to just be themselves?
Yeah.
Well, everybody belongs. I mean, we just say that everybody kind of gets to fit in in their own group. Or maybe that's not at all what you were thinking.
It's connected.
What were you going to say, Evan?
I was going to say, I like how they set it up. So it's not like, yes, you always have to be with your group leader, and you always have to be with like an adult. If you wanted to, you could just go off exploring, and like no one would really stop you. Because like me and Clayton and like the other group of siblings, on one of the years that we had less siblings, we would just go off like on the beach and like explore the area, and that was fun.
Yeah. All right. Anything else anyone wants to add about being a sibling? No?
Not really.
Okay. All right. Well, Miss Ellen.
Well, a couple of things. One, we are on Stitcher officially. And guess what? It is so much easier to leave reviews on Stitcher. So no one has any excuse to not go and leave us a review. You can also leave a review on iTunes, just iTunes and Stitcher. Leave us a review.
Don't know that Ellen takes the end of every single podcast to beg people and bribe people or whatever she needs to do to get people to leave reviews.
Wow. Bribe for real. If you leave us a review, you will make us very happy.
I'll leave you a review.
I don't know.
Leave us a review. Have you ever listened to one of our episodes, Clayton? Ever?
I just did.
You were in one right now, but have you ever listened to one? And
the first one.
And you guys should know that. Well, we are going to see each other in a month now because our families were going to the same family camp.
Wait, what week?
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Week 2. And also, people should know that even though our kids might not have been talking a lot, when our families get together,
they don't shut up.
As adults, we can't get rid of them.
Yeah. Yes.
They talk. Like the boys, Ellie, they talk with no reservations at all. This is different.
Yes, this is different.
Yeah. So
do you know what our next podcast is?
So next podcast we might be talking with someone about babies in the NICU.
Yes.
So preemie babies and babies in the NICU, that's probably next week's podcast. We're still hoping to find someone to talk about when your kids grow up and then you'll have to go through the guardianship. And then our last podcast is probably going to be about surviving the summer. So we only have, counting this episode, we're going to be done with season 1 of the Unexceptional Moms podcast at the end of May. And then we're going to be taking a break during the summer. And then we'll be back in September. So there's only 4 more episodes, you guys. Leave a review.
All righty. Until next time.
Until next time. Bye.
Bye.